Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to talk about attacking ideals, or the process of which we want to get higher percentage shots and more shots on goal. So what we're looking at here is a heat map of the English Premier League from 2017 to 2019. Total shots on goal, not including any kind of penalty kicks. So red is going to be goals that were scored. The gray blotches are going to be misses or saves. You can already see that there's a high area that most of these goals are being scored in, and even though we all love to see the spectacular 25, 30 yard shot from the sides and from distance, most of these goals are scored right in front of goal, right between the goal and the penalty spot. I'm going to be focusing more on trying to get that ball between the edge of the 6-yard box to the penalty spot, because the keeper will be able to gobble up most of the stuff coming in front of his or her goal. Shots from this area do not require the laces. They don't require a massive power shot. Most of the time the ball is coming across or being deflected, and you're just simply passing it to the side of the net away from the keeper, getting it into the back of the net. On our crosses, we want to be trying to keep that ball knee height or less. The ball can go up in the air for the older group, and you're able to head it down to the ground and into the net. But for the most part, we want these crosses driven just behind the defensive line, in front of the teammate running toward near post, far post, or the secondary runner coming through. And we want that knee height or lower. Our chest will be in the direction toward goal, toward the post that we are running toward, whether we're running near post or far post. That way our body is open and ready for placing a shot, placing a deflection into the back of the net, and we're not twisting our body. Here we have highlighted what we're going to refer to as the goal zone. These are the zone, or this is the zone that is going to produce the highest percentage of shot quality and the highest number of shots on goal and goals in the back of the net. Here I have a blue marked area where typically a keeper is going to get at least a save, at least a deflection, if not diving onto the ball, gathering the ball. So we want to try to focus our play out of this area inside the goal zone, but kind of away from this blue marked area as our initial shot, so that we keep a high percentage shot, keep it away from the keeper. But by all means, as you saw underneath that blue area, there's red blotches because the ball comes past the keeper, ball gets deflected by the keeper, ball hits a post and comes across behind a keeper. A defender is able to get an initial stop, but it drops right in front of goal. Run in there, touch it in the back of the net. Here we have two heat maps, one by Sergio Aguero, the other one by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. We see the same thing. Red dots are goals scored, and this is between 2017-2019. These are goals that were in play, not free kicks, not penalty kicks. And then the grayish area, or the gray areas, are saves or misses. We see that, say, Sergio Aguero, a prolific goal scorer for Man City, 174 shots on goal, more than half, 53%, were inside that goal area that we marked off before with the yellow box. 33 goals during that time, 66% of those goals were inside that goal area. Same thing with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. We have 98 shots on goal, 64% of the shots were inside that area, 22 goals, and 91% of those goals were inside that goal area. So we see we want to get players into this area. We want to get the ball into this area, not blindly, but moving in with purpose, understanding that we are chest to goal, knocking the ball into the back of the net. So we're going to start talking about what we're going to refer to as the staging areas. These are zones. If you break up the field into 18 zones, zones 13, 14, and 15. We'll be putting a box here shortly. The black box is going to be the goal area. This is where we are getting the ball into from these staging areas. So we want the ball into the goal area. The first area we have is zone 14, right in front of the penalty box, right in front of goal, or just outside the penalty box, right in front of goal. We want to get the ball into this area so that we can get a ball forward behind the defensive line to a runner coming into the goal area, or we can receive in this area, dribble past the defender, and take a shot on goal. Next areas are to either side of the zone 14. We want to enter the penalty box typically through these corners, coming across, finding the far player or a central player running near post, the far player running toward the far post, slotting it right behind the defensive line, knee height or lower, driven so that it's just a simple deflection, simple touch toward the back of the net to a side away from the keeper. These are areas where we will, again, penetrate either through the pass or we can penetrate with the dribble. And by all means, if you have a clear shot, you can go ahead and take your shot from these zones as well. These are good shot areas, but not as likely to get into the back of the net. If you have the option, we want the runners into the goal area to get those high percentage shots. Here we're going to step back one, and instead of concentrating on the heat maps for the shots, we're going to look at the staging areas, or how we get into these staging areas via passes. So this heat map, what it's showing is multiple players. The darker areas mean that there were more passes from these areas than the lighter ones. So for example, let's just say Philippe Coutinho over here in the top right, the dark brown, almost black areas, let's just say he made 80 passes from these zones versus take one of the lighter tan areas where he may have only made 5 passes. So the more passes in a particular area, the darker the color. The blue arrows are showing the direction and the placement of the passes made on average from those zones. So if we're seeing an arrow going from one of the very dark areas forward into the very next area, that means that he was a pass forward, most likely past the defensive line to a runner coming across. But what we're able to see from these is that a lot of these passes are from our zone 14, which is our center right in front of the penalty box staging area, or our two side or the corner of the penalty box areas, zone 13 and 15. We can see that Coutinho is primarily in that zone 13, finding balls directly forward, getting into toward the top of the penalty box or just inside the penalty box. If he's not making these high number passes in these darker areas, you see the lighter ones, they're passes finding their way into the staging area. Another player that's from Liverpool, of course Coutinho playing on Liverpool, is his teammate Adam Lallana. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Lallana primarily is trying to find Coutinho or another playmaker. You'll see that a lot of his passes are spread throughout the attacking area, but you see if he's finding himself into the corners, they're coming back and toward the center channel, trying to find the very edge of the staging area or finding their way directly into the top of the goal area. We're not trying to send it right to the 6-yard box because again the keeper will probably be able to gobble that up, but if we send it just outside the 6-yard box, right in front of the penalty spot, finding the goal zone area, we have high percentage shots, and a greater percentage of those will be able to get into the back of the net. You also see just beyond zone 13, 14, 15, more toward the middle of the field, he's finding passes into those staging areas. A lot of what you can see here is finding their way into zone 13 and zone 15, which are again the staging areas toward the corners of the penalty spot. Next examples, we're going to look at Hazard when he was playing with Chelsea. And the one on the bottom is Mesut Ozil, of course playing for Arsenal and the German national team, but these numbers are from his time with Arsenal. Most of Eden Hazard is coming from the wings, because that's primarily where he's playing, is on these sides, driving the ball forward. Anytime he does get the ball, he is always, whether he's at midfield or getting closer and closer toward the corner of the pitch, he's finding the ball into the center. If you see, a lot of his arrows, even from longer distance, are finding their way into that zone 14 staging area, which is central and just in front of the penalty box area. This is primarily due to the way Chelsea liked to play at that time. They wanted balls into the zone 14 staging area, and then from there, their center forwards or the attacking mid, whoever was coming forward to receive that ball, their duty was to take on the defensive line one-on-one, find their way through using skill of the dribble to find their way into the goal zone, not so much finding the pass, although that's always an option. What I wanted to show with Mesut Ozil is that you can see he's not primarily passing from one given area like we saw with Coutinho, like we see with Eden Hazard on this slide. Mesut Ozil has the freedom to roam on the pitch. Mainly, he's got the freedom to do so because there is no other player in the English Premier League that can send a ball into the goal zone as consistently as Mesut Ozil. You see, pretty much everywhere he's getting that ball, the vast majority of his passes are finding their way toward the center channel, or most of them are finding their way forward, getting past that midfield line to try to take on the defensive line and find a way through, or just simply finding a way through the defensive line for runners onto the ball. Anytime he's in the corner, he's bringing the ball toward the center channel and back, more toward the staging area or the top of the goal zone area. Every thought he has is finding a ball through, giving the attackers the option or the ability, the chances, just high number of chances in a high percentage area will result in more shots on goal. More shots on goal should give you more goals, period. Now what we have here is, instead of an entire season or 2 seasons, I wanted to show an example of Leicester City versus Man City back in the 16-17 season. This is the match where Leicester City took on Man City and actually got the result of 4-2 on the win. This is a single game heat map for Riyad Mahrez. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Phenomenal playmaker, phenomenal assisting presence on the field. Playing on the right-hand side, you see again, he's finding his way into the center channel, finding balls into the zone 15 in this case, zone 14, the staging areas. If he's finding himself in the corner, he's sending that ball primarily toward the top of the goal zone area, at least to the outside of the 6 on average, giving opportunities for runners coming on the backside or the far side post, the secondary runner coming behind, or a central runner coming toward the near side post. These are providing high percentage, once again, high percentage shots, which gives us a likelihood of more goals in the back, or more balls in the back of the net, more goals. He's always looking for advanced area actions every time he has the ball. Advanced area actions, of course, being those passes that break or penetrate past a given line. In this case, most often the defensive line, given his position, finding those areas behind the line so that his teammates are able to find balls in those high percentage areas, or at least in the staging area, to get those high percentage passes leading to more goals. So that's pretty much the end of this particular session. One of the things that we are going to work on as a team, at least for the older group that I have, we're going to go over making our own heat map. I will attempt to gather video that we have for the teams. If not, I will assign a given English Premier League team or a video to watch, and you can mark down where the shots were made from, were they successful, was it a miss, and you can start learning how to assess either your performance, or I'll assign a player that you can assess their performance, and this will enable you to be more self-driven in your personal analysis. You can use this for your own development. You can use this to bring to me or to another coach. You can use this to help in your development with your IDPs as well. To end this session, I have added a link in the description below to an English Premier League site on YouTube that will display 20 team goals and will demonstrate the use of the staging area and the goal zone area that we talked about today. Please take a look at this video. I will attempt to put a YouTube card in the video itself to make it easier to go straight to the site. Otherwise, again, the link is in the description below. I will put a link in the description for their channel and a link to this video, so if you want to come back and see it again, you can go directly to it. What I want you to do during the video is note the location, direction, and the pace of the passes, even the height of the passes, as they go into the staging area, from a staging area into the goal area, and how they are shooting. The use of those staging areas, are they just going directly through it? Are they going from one to another? What angles are they coming into? Who's making the run? And note the number of goals in and the general use of the goal zone area. Who's running in? Are they simply just standing there? Is it an area where they're picking up deflections? Are they using it as a direct method of getting shots on goal? Basically, enjoy. Have a good time.